17 years, a billionaire's son, a young woman dead, and he's still free. It all started in the spring of 2008. A brilliant young student vanishes after a night out in one of London's most exclusive neighborhoods. 2 days later, she's found dead under mysterious circumstances. And almost immediately, the only suspect disappears, boarding a private jet that takes him far beyond the reach of British law. For 17 long years, justice has remained frozen. But today, new developments may finally expose one of the most disturbing cases where money, power, and tragedy collided. Martine Vic Magnus was 23 years old, a young woman from Norway, full of ambition, full of dreams. She was studying business at Regent's Business School in London, one of the world's top financial hubs. On the night of her disappearance, she had been celebrating the end of her exams with friends at a popular nightclub in Mayfair, one of London's most exclusive and expensive districts. Those who knew her described Martine as kind, intelligent, and full of life, a young student with her entire future ahead of her. But what was supposed to be a night of celebration turned into the beginning of a nightmare that still hasn't ended. It was early morning on March 14, 2008. After leaving the exclusive Maddox nightclub in Mayfair, Martine was last seen in the company of Faraks Abdulhack, a fellow student and acquaintance. Surveillance cameras and witness accounts confirmed that Martine willingly left the club alongside Faraks. But after that moment, Martine was never seen alive again. 2 days later, British authorities made a chilling discovery. Her body was found hidden in the basement of the apartment building where Faraks lived on Great Portland Street in central London. Authorities reported that she had suffered fatal injuries, and evidence at the scene suggested a violent confrontation had taken place. The circumstances were deeply suspicious, and within hours of her disappearance, the prime suspect had vanished as well. The main suspect in Martine's death was 21-year-old Faraks Abdulhack. Faraks was not just any student, he was the son of Shahar Abdulhack, one of Yemen's wealthiest and most powerful businessmen, with international ties in industries like sugar, oil, and telecommunications. Within hours of Martine's disappearance, Faraks acted swiftly. He left London and boarded a flight to Cairo. From there, using his father's private resources, he continued his escape, flying directly to Yemen, a country that had no extradition treaty with the United Kingdom. In just a matter of days, Faraks had placed himself far beyond the reach of British authorities, triggering an international legal deadlock that would drag on for years. Faraks' ability to disappear so quickly wasn't random. It was powered by extreme wealth and influence. His father, Shahar Abdulhack, was often described as one of Yemen's most secretive billionaires. Known for controlling vast business empires across multiple countries, Shahar had long-standing connections that stretched beyond borders. When the investigation began, British authorities quickly realized that Faraks' escape was carefully orchestrated. Private planes, secure contacts, and political protection allowed him to reach Yemen, where British law had no authority. For years, his exact location was known, but with no legal pathway for extradition, Faraks remained out of reach, protected by both his wealth and Yemen's legal system. While Faraks lived freely in Yemen, thousands of miles away, Martine's family began a heartbreaking battle that continues to this day. Her father, Odd Petter Magnusson, refused to stay silent. For 17 years, he has been publicly calling for justice, meeting with officials, speaking to the media, and keeping his daughter's case alive in the international spotlight. He's faced years of frustration, stalled diplomacy, and broken promises. Yet, despite the odds, he's remained determined, reminding the world that his daughter's life mattered and that justice delayed is justice denied. Through every press conference, every interview, and every new development, Martin's father has never stopped fighting for answers. After years of silence, a shocking development came in 2023. Faraks Abdulhack agreed to speak in a rare interview with BBC Arabic journalist Nawal al-Maghafi. In that interview, Faraks admitted for the first time that something tragic had happened on the night Martin died. He described the events as an accident that went wrong, suggesting that both were under the influence of substances at the time. While stopping short of fully admitting guilt, his words were widely seen as a partial confession confirming his involvement in Martin's death. Despite this revelation, no legal progress followed. Faraks remained in Yemen, shielded from extradition and prosecution. Even with Faraks' statements on record, legal progress remained frozen. The United Kingdom has no formal extradition treaty with Yemen, meaning British authorities cannot compel Yemen to hand him over. Political instability inside Yemen only made matters worse. Throughout the years, diplomatic efforts have been made behind closed doors, but no agreement has ever been reached. Faraks' legal defense has argued that he fears facing what he describes as a biased justice system if he returns to the United Kingdom. As a result, despite being officially wanted for Martin's unlawful death, Faraks remains in Yemen, living in self-imposed isolation, free from prosecution. As of early 2025, the case remains one of the longest-running unresolved investigations in British history. The Metropolitan Police continue to classify Martin's death as an unlawful killing. They've publicly renewed their calls for Faraks Abdulhack to return and cooperate with investigators. Meanwhile, Martin's father continues to pressure both British and international officials, insisting that justice must finally be served. Diplomatic talks between the United Kingdom and Yemen, including with Houthi authorities who currently control large parts of the country, remain ongoing. But with no breakthrough in sight, the legal standoff remains and Faraks Abdulhack continues to live freely, while Martin's family waits for justice 17 years later. 17 years have passed since that tragic night in London. 17 years of unanswered questions, legal barriers, and heartbreaking delays. Martin Vic Magnus's family has fought every single day, refusing to let her memory fade or allow the world to forget what happened to their daughter. Despite a partial confession, despite clear evidence, and despite global attention, the man at the center of this case remains beyond the reach of British law. Faraks Abdulhack continues to live in Yemen, protected by the absence of an extradition treaty and the powerful influence once held by his late father. This case has become more than just a personal tragedy. It now represents a much larger global dilemma where wealth, politics, and international law collide. How many more years will Martin's family have to wait? Can international pressure finally force movement in a case where justice has been frozen for nearly 2 decades? For now, the world watches. And Martin's father continues to say the same words that have carried him through these long years. Justice delayed is justice denied.